Hey, how's it going? This is Rob here with some feedback for you, and looks like you have a. Let me just get my drawing. Looks like you have a pretty interesting building here, and pretty current. Actually, really current. So that's kind of cool. This is kind of an interesting drawing. First off, this actually is exactly what I'm trying to teach you guys. Is that we want to try to think about our building at multiple scales. So, for example, this is actually really good. I want to steal this drawing. I'm going to steal this for my own because it's showing that the things that happen in this building actually connect all the way down to the Mississippi and all the way through all that. And here it is in its local Ohio River, and then here it is, if I can see it, it's a little hard to see. Now, for this particular slide, you wouldn't really need all this because we're not really talking about water, but like you don't need to, you wouldn't put all this here at this point because this all has to do with specifics of the building. Here we're just trying to do global context. So, where is the building located globally and why is water important? Why is water important? And I wonder why, because the location here, it's in Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh has lots of water. So I would say, what is it about the global context for water? That's a water drop, can you tell? Why is that important? But I like that. I guess it goes this way, which is pretty interesting. And then there's that. I don't know what all this stuff is down here, but it's kind of interesting. So yeah, I would have flipped these. I probably would have put this first, just so I know where I am. And this really is a location map. This actually goes back onto performance, which is just your basic facts, and I should probably change the heading for that. So new environment. See, this is really, really basic. So I would have shown this first, and the other one actually is systems. The one here, this is really talking about systems and how it interacts with the watersheds and all. So that's pretty interesting. This is a nice drawing, right? So they went for LEED. Okay, good. Why did they go for LEED? What were they trying to express? Values, beliefs. Is it in their company mission and vision? So you're trying to understand why would somebody pay more for a building so they could say it was LEED. Really, you think about it, it's kind of ridiculous. There must be some sort of belief that goes on, and really that belief actually tends to come from things like at the global perspective of climate change. Whether you personally agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. For the paper, you want to dig into the client and what they're trying to do. It's actually a really nice drawing. So you don't really need this picture here, but I guess there's nothing wrong with having it. Yeah, so really what I'm looking for here is the city of Pittsburgh, and I'm looking for the urban context. And I'm trying to understand the city of Pittsburgh and how that impacted the design of the building. This to me looks like symbolism and more at the site scale. So I would move that to site scale, and I would move it to culture. And I would talk about how this and this are somehow related, although I'm a little skeptical. It sounds like architectonic speak. But it really doesn't have a lot to do with performance of the building necessarily. All right, so let's see. Geothermal cooling line, the well, the center taps 8. So, okay, so that's systems, good. But it's really not at the bioregional scale. It's really at the site or building scale, so you have to move that. When we get into systems, and we talk a lot about, in this scale, we'll talk about transport and how well the site is served, regionally by roads and public transportation and etc. And so other systems might be like what you showed was the watershed. So at this scale, we're really looking for big scale things that the building is either impacted by or impacts. But I would move this slide, and then here you might want to say, well, your analysis can either be why did they do it? Obviously they did it for the points, or is it working? So if you do your research on the building, is it really effective as a system? With one of the themes of the center is the neighborhood of nature series, right? So that's a check, except this is more at the site scale. So is that, neighborhood of nature actually probably refers to how Pittsburgh is a city of neighborhoods. And so maybe there's an idea here that somehow it's related to the bioregional scale a bit. Or, maybe this is connected into a nature path that cuts through the city. We'll see. So again, all of this. So this is a great picture for this. Definitely site scale. So you're going to want to go ahead and move this. And here you should be showing pictures of Pittsburgh. What does it feel like to be in Pittsburgh? It's kind of interesting because Pittsburgh's sort of an industrial blue collar, right? So under culture, you might talk about it being a blue collar town. And its experience has a lot of industrial buildings, pretty gritty, pretty dirty. So this is really a different. So in your analysis, you might talk about how this is really a change from what Pittsburgh experiences typically being. And maybe the client did that on purpose. You have to do your reading to figure out why that happened. So this is great. So now I understand a lot more. So first of all, going back to the city scale, I really want to see a map of a bigger map even than this that shows that, oh, this is right on the edge of a forest. I get it now. Okay, that's probably pretty critical. That should have been in your regional scale. And certainly at the district scale, this is very helpful. And this is an appropriate drawing for district scale. I mean, really, this is the district, but I'll take it. And clearly, there's a watershed happening down here somewhere, so we'll talk about that. Make sure you source your image, your data. Recently, okay, so there is an ecosystem restoration 9-mile run, which you talked about in the first slide. And there's a lot of species here. 280% increase since the rest. Oh, sorry, that was somebody else's movie. Very, very sorry to interrupt you in this way, but I will get back to your thing here. So, yeah, so your analysis is, hey, this is located on the edge. This is located between urban and natural. And it really explains a lot about the design and why it looks the way it looks. And so we'll get into that a little bit more. There's also a big park here. So this looks like a neighborhood. So you think about systems. See, now this is interior scale. See this right now, we're still at the district community scale, so you wouldn't show this here. You would, let's see, the front desk is established from city trees. So that is excellent, and we do want that information. It's interesting, that could go at the city scale, and you could talk about, now, yeah, so you could use this picture for guide flows. I mean, you're talking about material flows, so I guess it's kind of okay. It could be. So I'm gonna scrap that. I'd rather see a picture of the city's. I think the city has a great reclaimed lumber program, and this is tying into that, which has a lot more to do with manifest meetings. So the city likes to reclaim lumber, and that then impacted the building. Okay, holistically address, integrate. So that's good. So that is a core value of how the client wants to express itself. So it's interested in these as values. Whenever we see that, that's usually a value. So you could write something here about whether you think they achieved that. It looks like they did. We saw that bridge before. This is a great picture. You could reuse this for experience, by the way. Uh-oh. Well, certainly this actually would have been really good at city scale, actually. City scale experience. And I'd like to have a picture to go with it to prove that. In fact, the previous picture kind of talks about that. I don't know, you really have to show, I think the site is here. So you need to let me know that because I don't know that. And you need to tell me why do they escape. So noise, huh? Escape from the noise of the city. It's more than just the noise, I think. It's probably the noise and the activity and the urbanness. And this building is really the transition from urban to natural. So that's pretty good. You have it at the district scale. It looks more like a city scale to me. But not bad. Okay, good. So you have a site plan. Actually, you're way ahead of many of the other students who couldn't even get me a site plan. Now, really what I want here is just a regular site plan with not all this stuff on it. This has a lot. This is all your systems, by the way. This is totally a system site plan. Living building. Oh, nice. I thought it was LEED. I didn't realize I didn't read that before. Is that my imagination or was I not paying attention? What do you think about that? Either you can talk about why they did it, or you can talk about whether it was working or not. Those are two forms of analysis. These are great. What I would like to do is I like to hear about these in a little bit more detail in your writing. All of these are systems that impact the site, and they lead into the Living Building Challenge, which is interesting. So this is also site scale. Oh, look at that. There's a little district scale map. That could have been useful earlier. But in any case, right, so the park is up here. This is my building right here, which is great. I remember those steps. I remember the bridge. I guess that was the bridge. There was a bridge somewhere in here. This doesn't matter. And again, these are actually still systems, right? So you've shown me 2 systems diagrams at the site level that are pretty good. So you really need to think about your performance level is going to be how much energy did it save? How much water did it? This is more about how much. When you talk about performance, this is really a systems diagram showing, I don't know what that says. That says rainwater interaction. Oh, I see. So rainwater is moving through this to these guys probably. Oh, look at that. That's interesting. They're using the rainwater for they're dispersing it out into the site. Wastewater disposal, right. So what's really interesting here is they're taking runoff, they're using it, storing it, using it in the building, and then they're actually disposing of it on site, which is something you really need to write about and talk about, because that's pretty dramatic. So this is a great city scale map. I don't know why you have it here, but this talks about the site in total context of the major parks of the city and how it fits into the city context. So this really has to move away from here. And Manifest Meeting at the Site really talks about their thinking about how they treat the site. Are they nice to the site? Are they kind to the site? Is the site a transition? You really need to write about how that's going to work. And I think look at that. That's a great drawing. And this is performance right here. This would go under, I'd put this under performance. And about what it is, and look at that. There's your stormwater right there. It's pretty sustainable building. I mean, that's what Living Building Challenge will generate. But I don't really see the systems. I mean, I see a little bit of systems here kind of coming down. I see that. Looks like a fireplace system maybe. Not sure. This is another great drawing. And yeah, this is a site scale drawing. And native plant gatehouse. This is performance. This is fact. This is actually what I would show first in the site scale, because it gives me a general overview of what's where. It'd be very useful. Okay, thank you. This is a good drawing, and it's the right drawing, but it's blurry. So can you get me a better one? But it's very helpful in understanding. I see now that's a stair tower. That looks right. That looks right. I guess you could say that's okay. Is there anything you want to say about this floor plan? Do you like it? Do you think this is systems? Good. So you got this one right. This is actually a really good case study for my class. I hope you can get this further developed and can use it in class. I think it's a really interesting building, and they've thought about systems really carefully. I'm really interested in, so this is the Geo Exchange. So they've got, right, so they've got wells, they've got solar, they've got wastewater all being shown on this. That's pretty good. So that helps me a lot, actually. And this is good, right? So you got it. So at the building scale, and you could say this is site scale or building scale, you're really getting people to experience nature. You do want to source these. But this is good. It's showing how the building is impacting society. So you might want to say, I'd like to have a sunflower too. I don't know what you would say, but you need to talk about here that clearly the client is expressing its concern for connecting people to the natural world in order to create future citizens that will worry about the environment. It's based on their, so they're really promoting their mission here is what you want to say. Promoting mission. Right. Okay, good. And this is great. So this is a really good experience one. I'd like to know how you personally feel. Do you like it? Do you think about somebody falling off of here from a CM point of view? That would go under your equity and your culture. Usually safety will fall under that because you care about people and you don't want to get sued, potentially. It's interesting how these columns are actually getting wet. I don't know if that's because it's raining or not. That's really And if you remember our biophilia lecture, people love waterfalls because makes people think that the water is being cleaned. I'd love to see some more pictures inside the building. Maybe I'm going to see that next. Well, this is that's a total experience drawing, right? This is actually a good case study for 601. Like, what happens when it rains, right? This is really good. So what do you think? Do you like it, or do you worry about it? Your concerns about, you could move this picture back into here, and you could say, I'm worried about, here you could worry about maintenance and such, right? So here you go. Here's the building. It'd be great to see people in here, but that's okay. This is experience. Do you like it gives you, since this is good. So you did that correctly. You could give me a little more, maybe. How does the wood make you feel? Is it biophilic? Right? Try to connect back. It looks a little empty. Not just because there's no people, but there's not a lot of furniture, but clearly this is a multi-purpose room. That's good. Check. I might also, that's fine. That's good. That's good, but what are there's a strong connect. Okay, so this is a connection to outdoor. But what's going on with the lighting here? Is this trying to get some dappled light? Cool. Alright, so grading this is going to be out of 35 points, not 20. I think you have a good start. I really do. I think you need to move some stuff around, add a lot more pictures, a lot more drawings. Give me a more depth to this project. I want to understand the mission and vision of the client. Mission plus vision, and that's going to really help me understand why they did a lot of what they did. But overall, I think you're off to a good start. I think you could, the more you do, it's better for me because I can use it in class later. Oh, that's not fair. I'm sorry. That's so rude. Just take a look at this before you go back in, so you know how you're being graded. I love to give you an A because I like to help people's GPAs. So good to talk to you. Take care.